Hello, everybody, and welcome back to From BA to Broadway. I am your host, Mr. Brennan Stefanik, and today I have with me one of the loveliest people on the planet. It is Mr. DJ Plunkett.
Oh,
What's
thank
going on,
you.
DJ?
Hello.
DJ, who are you? What do you do?
I am an actor in New York City.
Hell yeah, you are.
I don't know. What else do I say to that?
I mean, that's enough if that's what you feel. DJ, how do we know each other?
We know each other through one of your previous guests, actually, Miss Katie Garrity, Broadway
Indeed.
legend herself.
Yes.
And fellow Massachusetts.
Yes, alum of Massachusetts. We can't talk about her too much, though, because then she will...
her head will just get huge. And I can't handle
it will
that,
give her too much power. And then, DJ, do you have a degree in theater?
I do. I have a BFA in musical theater from CCM, which is the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music.
Rock and roll. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Folks, today we're here to talk about typecasting, which at least nowadays I am very torn about. I feel like I've gone through so many different waves of like being pro and
same, honestly.
And like, I don't know. I don't know if this is like defeatist of me, but I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, it is what it is. So like, let's use it to our advantage.
I
kind
love
of
that
situation, you know?
Weaponize that BFA.
Literally weaponize our everything about us. For the folks out there who don't know, how would you describe typecasting?
I guess on a surface level, I would immediately think of typecasting as when you are cast based on how you look or present or possibly identify, although I guess that could be different. And I think a lot of people talk about how it usually like puts them in a box or pigeonholes them.
Yeah, for sure.
But I have a lot of thoughts that we can dive into where it's worked in my favor many times. So I am like, no, I'm good with my own type
for sure.
But I think there's lots of ways in, around, and through talking about typecasting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no way to like talk about it without like acknowledging like it is at its heart it is kind of shallow, you know.
Completely. It is. I mean, this industry is shallow.
100%. So yeah, I mean, it's tough, especially I feel like you're just exiting college and you're entering this world and you're like, wow, I just spent all that time trying to find myself and now someone else might be telling me that I am not.
But I would almost immediately argue that like you know yourself better than anybody else. So if someone's telling you you're not that, you fully always have the power to be like, no, I am this.
100%.
I think right off the bat, I want to say like if you are good at something and you know you're the best at something and you want to play a certain role, go for it and prove everybody wrong.
That's exactly right.
And we're in a industry right now that is, I think, hopefully allowing more and more of that.
Yeah, I bet you have control over what your type
Always.
is. You know, you do. And like there may be patterns into how you have been cast, but I mean, you can use those if you want, but you can also break that if you really are ready to be seen in a particular light or a particular way and just kind of.
I also think my hot take is almost like, I don't want to say typecasting and branding and all of that stuff doesn't matter, but what I want to say is it's usually out of our power.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that I've had many jobs over so many years, but at the end of the day, you get the jobs you get. And so if I look back at my resume over however many years, I guess that's my type. But all I was doing was accepting the jobs I was offered.
Yeah.
And I've yet to be in a place where I can be super picky and choosy about what those are.
Yes.
Usually if I get the job, I'm taking it.
100%.
You know, there's been a handful of projects that I'm like, I don't want to do that. But then I don't audition for them.
Exactly. What would you say that your type is? Like if you could summarize just so people know like what to expect of how to craft their type.
What are like the punch words? I'm a character actor. I'm a 5'4". I usually play very heart-centered characters, lovable sidekicks, if you will. There's usually lots of Disney thrown in there because of that. But yeah, it's younger character actor is what I would
for sure.
say.
And like I think I would say in terms of myself, I would say character actor right away. But it's like, I don't know, it's that and then like The Boy Next Door, you know, those are the two surefires.
You know, I've been lucky that because of, I don't want to say like my physical limitations, but I'm short and I have a specific voice and skill set that has always matched my type. So I've never really had to grapple with like, I really want to be the leading man. I've never been like, I'm never Prince Charming, and that is fine. I don't want to play any princes. I'm much happier doing Flounder and LeFou.
Heard.
So
heard. Yeah, I mean, and like there's like categories, I think, within that is kind of how you craft your type. And I would say physicality is definitely one of them. And then genre of music sometimes too.
Sure.
I like to do rock every once in a while, and that's something that I do consider myself better at some, you know, so that can definitely fall into the type.
So that's something that I'm not good at usually.
Oh,
and
interesting. Okay.
I'll go in for rock shows and sound like I belong in an Alan Menken show. So they're like, oh, no, that's a little
pop
mild.
Is a different story for me. Pop is definitely not where it's at, but rock is like fine. Like
nice.
Like classic like Rent kind of stuff is like
good for
where
you.
I vibe. I love that shit. Role archetypes kind of, and then of course character actors, and really just anything that you can pull to make yourself a little bit more specific, you know, and that's what they're gonna judge you on, and that is both good and bad depending on how you look at it, but for right now we got to look at it as good, you know. Oh, I thought there was a burp coming. It's not. This is a pro burp podcast.
Podcast.
If
Great.
you
Good to know.
you feel like coming on, you just let it fly. Oh, I guess another thing when like trying to find your type is like, are there other actors out there who you would want to model yourself after?
That's,
or like,
I mean, I've looked up to so many people in the course of my career. And when you look at their careers and what my career has been, what I want it to be, it is very similar.
Truly.
That's never pigeonholed me. I want to just say that because like, I think that can also be really stifling for people.
But yeah, I mean, if you are wondering like kind of where you fit into the mechanism and there are those roles that you feel like you would be good at, like find the strings that attach them, listen to like the kinds of music that is involved with them.
Completely. I had an acting coach when I first moved to the city that she was the first one to say it, but if there are roles that you want to play, especially if they exist in the canon of theater, learn them.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the audition appointment to come or the callback to come where you're thrown the sides last minute and you're like, oh, now I have 7 pages to learn by tomorrow. It's if you like, for example, if you're going in for some of the biggies like Lion King or Hamilton or Wicked or Phantom or Chicago, those audition packets exist everywhere. Yeah. Everyone has had them.
Anytime you get a call from Wojcik, you go on that website, you download everything you can find.
And even for shows that are a little bit older, I've made so many Seymour and Little Shop of Horrors tapes, and it's always the same cut of the same songs and usually the same sides. If it's not the same sides, there's like 3 that they kind of like interchange. And so now when I get those audition appointments, I'm like, oh, great. I know this already. I'm already off book.
Exactly.
Let's, whatever choices I'm feeling now, make those.
That's such a good way to do it.
You can prep beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. So like find those roles, find those songs. Honestly, like reach out to the people. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, send a cold DM, push comes to shove, they read it and answer you. Absolutely. You know, you want to follow their career, tell them that and just kind of see what advice they have and what paths you can follow. And then like also look at their careers themselves and see what roles they are going to and from, and if there's any trajectory you can follow within that, you know?
Fully. I had a really wonderful conversation with an actor that I had looked up to. Actually, this has happened twice now. Where 2 separate actors that I've looked up to for a very long time. One is a lot older. One is kind of usually in the running with me often. Yeah. And I got to have private conversations with them where I really got to kind of tell them that I've always looked up to them and this is really cool that I'm finally working with you or talking to you. And then both have been such wonderful and I don't sound like cheesy, but like inspirational interactions that have just been really, really special to me. Yeah. And they're kind of like core memories now that whenever I'm like not getting something or it's a lot of no's or whatever the reason is, I can go back to that and be like, remember that one time that person that you really respect said this nice thing.
Exactly. And like, and that's also like one of those things that you got to hold on to and that keeps the hope alive and stuff. But yeah, I mean, they're just people. Yeah. At the end of the day, they are just people who are doing the same thing that you're doing. And it can be way more normal than you think it is, you know? And then also eventually, like, you start working with those people, you know, those are your
That's the cool
coworkers.
moment when that started happening.
Yeah, you know? So send those DMs, take the risk, just do it. This is me giving you the permission, you know?
We were actually just talking about before the mics turned on that I'm in this new phase of like, I'm just sending emails now.
Yeah.
If I want something, I will reach out to somebody, and the worst case scenario is they don't open it. The best case scenario is I get what I want.
Exactly.
So why not?
What do you have to lose, truly? I mean, I would imagine there's nothing you can say in an initial email like that will ruin your reputation in any way, shape, or form. And so, I mean, unless you're a very special kind of emailer, in which case we got some other things to talk about. But yeah, folks.
Never reply all. Don't be that person.
My problem is that I don't reply all when I need to. Like
is there ever a situation to reply all?
The thing that happens the most is like with work when I'm trying to swap shifts with someone, or if someone needs me to take a shift of theirs, is like they'll send the email to me and all of the other managers. And then I have to confirm, and I always just respond to the person who sent it. And I'm like, good. And then like the day's coming and they're like, Brennan still hasn't responded. And I'm like,
no, yes, I did.
I swear I did. I just didn't know. I'm also just like really bad at reading emails nowadays in general, which is...
See, I have OCD, so I don't have that problem. I all of my text messages, emails, DMs, if they're that little red icon is at 0 all the time. I get a lot of anxiety if that number is...
I will not even show you the number of emails.
I don't want to see it because I have some other friends that I get hives.
It's bad. It's really bad. Also, like, they're important emails that I need to read, you know?
But then, how do you know which ones are, like, what if there's a really important one, like, in the middle of there somewhere?
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. And, like, I should read them, you know? Like, I'm literally just on the way to an event or something, and I'm like, I should probably find out, like, where this is, you know? And I have constantly ended up at the wrong place, and it's kind of a miracle that I made it here today, even though we are in my apartment, my literal home. Yeah, that's a goal. That's a goal of mine, is to be better at that. I'm also like looking for other jobs right now to add to my current job just to make some more money too. And I'm like,
love money, love jobs.
Truly. I'm like, I need to be on top of my game a little bit more. So yeah, folks. In summary,
the hustle is real.
The hustle is so real. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I've done it all. I have catered, I have coat checked, I've babysat, I've personal assisted, I've worked in the wardrobe world, I've office temped, all of the things. So
I feel like we'll probably do like a moving to New York series in the future. Sure. And I feel like you're probably the first guest for that, considering how many texts I was sending you when I was moving here. You know? Yeah, what a wild time. What a wild time. But here we are.
Yeah.
We're here.
You figure it out. That's the magic of New York, is that like things usually present themselves when you need them to.
Exactly. What is meant for you will not pass you by. And I heard that a couple of weeks ago, and I've been saying it constantly.
Keep saying it.
Because I need to hear it, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Typecasting. So true, bestie.
I see how this works. So we just chat, and then we're like, oh yeah, and then typecasting.
Yeah. We go off on the tangent. This is all definitely staying in, by the way,
absolutely.
Too. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Copy. Typecasting versus brand. Thoughts?
Sure. I have a hot take. I'm a little nervous because I'm like, I don't usually share hot takes.
Do it. But it's only going out to the whole world,
right? So I want to preface that I am not a branding person. I am not the person to talk to about that. I don't even have a TikTok.
Heard.
That being said, I don't really believe in brands as an actor. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I think that you should always be focused on honing your skill set as an actor, as a singer, as a dancer, whatever other special skills you may have in this crazy industry. Making sure that those things are at the top of their game are always more important than focusing on a brand or likes or any social media platform in any way. I always think that like when I have worked for directors or the directors that I dream of working for, I want them to cast me based on my excellent performance that they saw and be like, well, I really want to work with that actor. I don't want to be the person that's kind of the branded hire.
For sure. I think when it all boils down to it, like the branding component is just like the marketing
Sure.
side of it.
And listen, it works for people.
Oh,
like
for sure.
Works for people.
Yeah.
And like go for it. Go do it. If you feel that is your calling.
Yeah.
There are ways to do that. I just don't know what they are.
Exactly. So like we'll do a whole episode about like the marketing of yourself as an actor eventually, but like
I'll be listening to that one.
Amazing. Just in terms of like, in terms of where that clashes with type, I don't want everyone out there to be thinking that those are the same things.
Yeah, no, they're not. When I like, that's what's like, it's really not in anyone's control. If you book a job and it's a role you want to play, you take that. And then the next job can be something completely different and different than that. And then you can really only look at your type or a brand. I think I said this before, kind of in retrospect.
100%.
Really. And at that point, what's done is done.
Yeah.
So it feels like micromanaging in a way that I don't think is. I would rather take a really good acting class than focus on that.
Yeah,
100%.
And like at the end of the day, I would hope that your quote unquote brand would just be like you. It would be like who you are, So like that's
or like talented. I want my brand to be like my. You know what? Actually, here's what I'll say. I would love for my brand to be, friendly, easy to work with, and really good at what they do.
Amazing.
I think that can be a brand.
That's great. I would say that you are achieving that.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. OMG. So yeah, folks, we'll talk about the branding / marketing of it all in a different episode. But yeah, in terms of right now, don't get that confused with your type.
Yeah.
Type is just the roles that you're playing.
It can also be super different. I'm looking, you have me thinking about the previous things that I've done. That you could argue are all in the same type. Like, I'll be specific. I just finished playing LeFou in Beauty and the Beast. Before that, Dickon in Secret Garden. And before that, Bach in Wicked.
There you go.
They are all younger, small character actor, male identifying roles.
Yeah.
That being said, LeFou is an evil French clown. Dickon is a spiritual, connected to nature earth boy that helps a child grieve.
Totally.
And Bach is an Ozzy and Munchkin bursting with heart.
Yeah.
Those are so completely different. And if you just like look in the text and do your homework and it's so different. You can't possibly get more different than those things.
Totally. And like, I think when you are like in the mindset that you're feeling pigeonholed in that kind of stuff, it can start to feel like everything is the same, So I think it's definitely important to find the differences within that. And then like also just as like a general, I don't know, organizational thing to do, just like go show by show, write down who you would play and just have that little database for yourself and whatnot. So
that's also a great list to have for when you look for representation, because the first thing any agent is going to ask is, where do you see yourself in this industry, or what do you want me to submit you for?
Yeah.
And you want to be on the same page with your representation.
Totally.
So that list is always going to be useful.
Just hand them that piece of paper, and like if they disagree, change it.
I just broke the rule of this podcast. I turned away and burped.
So it's been really lovely.
It's
been really lovely having you.
Yeah,
Thank you
Goodbye.
so much. I will be finishing this by myself. No. Now you know for next time.
Just get closer.
Yes, it is a 3-strike policy, but but now you know that. List. Yes.
Yeah.
Make a list. Do that. Have that for yourself. Have that. I don't know. Also, just like when planning out all your auditions, I'm finding that the more information you have just at your disposal, the better it's going to be. And also, like, once again, when you're getting those packets and stuff for callbacks for roles and stuff, throw them in that document,
I'm a big fan of lists.
Yeah.
I am a very organized person. So I think that you talked about weaponizing type or things.
Yeah.
If you have all of the information in your pocket, which we all do, we all have cell phones and Google and YouTube, you should know all the roles you write for, all the theaters that are doing that show, all of the creative teams that tend to work on them. That's all information that you can use to your advantage.
100%. I had talked about, I used to use this website way back in the day. And by that, I mean probably like 2 years ago.
What is it?
It's called Up to Date Actor. And it is...
I've not heard of that.
Once again, like I only discovered it because I took a class that was kind of just centered around that. It was a free class by the Growing Studio, and it was the folks who made this website. And it is essentially a database for... There we go. Okay. That was me, just for the record, everybody. That was me. That was not DJ's burp resurfaced. He has not paid his penance yet.
No, not yet.
It is basically just a database of as much theatrical information as there can
I
be.
love that.
Specifically, like on the quote unquote business side of it. So like there's a page for every theater. There's a history of the shows they've done. There's a list of the staff, and if their contact
That's
information
awesome.
is
The fact that
available.
exists is wonderful. I do that on my own, so I'm like, wait, what is this?
No, truly, truly. And yeah, and each casting director, like agent, everyone has a page. Sometimes if the contact information is readily available, it'll be there. So that's very helpful. But like, if you're the kind of organizational person, that's another very good tool to have. And then also like, if there's the show that you're really gunning for right now, you can type that in and it'll tell you who's doing it. And then you can go from there, see when the auditions are for all of that jazz. But yeah, it was very helpful. And especially like when I was just getting started too, I was like, I need as much contact information as I can get, you know? But pro tip, folks, at the end of the day, oftentimes it is just casting at the theater's website.
Well, yeah, that too.
When in doubt, there you go. Just give it a shot. You'd be surprised. But yeah, make those lists. Just compartmentalize as much as you can in your brain, and it'll do wonders for you.
Yeah. You'll also find, I find it really refreshing in a business that often gives you no answer, for better or for worse, to know the casting offices that call me in all the time. Because that's a big compliment. And I think that everyone should clock that. Not only if you get a call back, but if the same office has called you in a few times, they like you.
100%.
Because there's too many people and too little time. So if a casting director trusts you enough to call you back into a room after you've already been in front of other creative teams, they're a fan and they're trying to get you work.
Totally.
And I think that should be taken as much of a win as booking anything else should.
Truly, truly, truly. That in itself is like, I don't know, the biggest compliment in the world, because it's nice to have people rooting for you.
Yeah. They're sticking their neck out.
Exactly.
Casting's only job is to curate the room and present different options to creative teams. So they want to make sure that they're calling in people that will do a good job.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it's helping you get seen by even more people, you know, which is always, I don't know, it's just nice. I like it when people like me, you know.
Isn't that nice?
Truly. Does type come into play during auditions?
I mean, yeah, that's I feel like when it mainly comes into play.
Yes. And I think that's when you need to establish it for them, you know, especially if it's different than what they would assume from you, then you got to just let it all hang out right there and then.
Yeah. I still stand by, though, like, you can only be you.
That's true.
Whether your presumption of your own type is different than how someone else perceives it, you're still walking in the room as you, and you can kind of think whatever you want to think, and they're going to think whatever they want to think, and at the end of the day, you're going to get the job or not.
There you go.
So that's why I always say, like, just focus on doing a really good job and be a really good actor.
Yeah.
And then if the reason you get the job or don't get the job is because they thought your nose was too big or small, or
what is that supposed to mean, DJ? Hello? Out of all the things,
you have a wonderfully shaped nose.
Out of all the things, you picked the nose.
I would cast you immediately in my show specifically because of your nose.
Oh my God, stop. Thank you.
But do you know what I mean? Like, you can't, there's nothing, I mean, unless you want to get a nose job, but you're never going to know that. Exactly. So like, you might as well have done a really good job. Yeah.
And I mean, in terms of when you're walking into that room, of course, just be yourself. I feel like it's the
most obnoxious answer. I hate when people are like, just be yourself. And it's like, I will say though, as I get older, it's made more and more sense. It might be just observing people that are younger than me in the industry now and being like, or like not knowing who they are or knowing who they are. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's how I should have been. Or like, oh, I wish I knew that when I was their age. Cause
like every single episode we've had so far, that has been like a major plot point in it in some way, shape, or form. And I'm like, there's a pattern here, folks. Like, no matter what facet of the industry we are talking about, that is always one of the biggest keys, is to just be yourself.
Yep. And I know people's argument to that is like, well, I see the same type of people working all the time. And that's true, but only to a certain extent. Like even the same, I can't think of names, but like if you think of everybody who's ever played Christine in Phantom of the Opera, all have same qualities.
Yeah.
But they're still all wildly different.
Totally. And something that they do have in common is that they're very good. They're amazing. They're the best at what they do.
This is good. I think vibe is more important than type. Because
so like true.
oftentimes breakdowns will, yes, sometimes list physical attributes that the character has to have.
Mm-hmm.
But even within that, there's going to be tons of people that are all over 6 foot tall and are whatever.
Of course.
But it will also say like this character is conniving or has a lot of heart or is shy or whatever those punch words are.
Yep.
I think that's more important than the physical thing.
True.
And that's something like you can act and everybody can fake it. But there's definitely people that when they walk in the room, it's like, oh, they just have that character's vibe.
Yes. That's a nice thing about theater is that there is the unannounced vibe check, that there is that part of the quote unquote job interview.
Yeah. Never walk in the room like a crazy person.
I just wish that was more in more job interviews around. I'm finding I'm like we need to have
more vibe checks,
an official vibe checker as part of the process.
It's so easy too. You can get a vibe check in like 2 simple questions,
and I'm happy to give them.
Right?
Don't get me wrong, but the times that I want to give them are not appropriate. You know? Oh wow. What a great world that would be.
Yeah, people still slip through the vibe check though.
They really do.
Yeah.
And I don't get it, you know? Because you always learn. You always learn the hard way.
Yeah, what were we talking about? This is fun.
It's all about the vibes. It's all about the type. Yeah, you're going into an audition room. Establish that vibe. Easy way to do that. What you're performing, you know?
Yeah.
What's in your book.
Also, just be a normal person.
Also that.
I've only sat behind the table 2, maybe 3 times that I can think of right now off the top of my head. And the biggest thing I learned was like your split judgments happen way before the person does any type of performance material in good ways and bad ways, where it's like they'll walk in and you'll be like, I want to hang out with them. Yes, like they're just a normal person talking to me like a normal person. Yes, there's a job interview element to it, but like not really. It's just kind of like they're just cool.
Yeah.
And then there's like a nervous energy, which is kind of like a standard. So like, no, you're not getting points like docked off from you if you're like visibly nervous. But then there's the crazy people and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, just stop talking or stop. Like, you're just digging yourself a hole.
And like everyone wants to be quirky. Everyone wants to be quirky about it.
No, don't put that on. Like, just go in and however you're feeling that day. Yeah. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And it will read as chill and people will want to hang out with you.
Truly. I just had an interview yesterday. No, 2 days ago to be an equity monitor.
That's going to be a fascinating job. I would love to hear all of your stories about that.
I'm like, yes, I would love to make money in this facet of the industry and learn more in that regard. But what a social experiment.
Oh, yeah.
You know, could be,
people are so mean to those people sometimes. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And those people are also so mean to others sometimes too. You know, I'm like, I'm grumpy in the morning. I could thrive at this. This could be great. I fit right in. No. But yeah,
you're like, you know what I really want to do? Yell at 472 people at 8 a.m. who are just trying to get seen for cabaret. Like,
and like, I can't do that. I'm going to talk as loud as I can. And if you miss it, you miss it, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, it could be so fascinating and I would love to have that opportunity. So fingers crossed, stay tuned.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I also just need more money, you know? Just need that second job. But yeah, folks, also it kind of starts with the monitor too. I think we may have said this at one point in time too, but like if you're not too great to the monitor or you're out of your mind to the monitor, they stick their head in the room right before you go in anyways. So it could be a make or break situation. So vibe check.
Just be nice to people.
Truly.
That's literally all it is.
Literally. We should offer a service that's like,
what's the industry advice? And the answer is always like, just be a nice person.
Well, no, not even. Like, it's just like a vibe check service.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm into that.
A 10-minute FaceTime. It can be for literally anyone and anything. Yep. And then we just lay it out for them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm patenting this. I'm patenting this right now, folks. You don't take this idea.
You would save so many theaters, so many heartaches.
Yeah. I feel like I would save a lot of people so many heartaches. Even like all of the
heartaches,
jobs.
Headaches, all the things.
All of the jobs I've had in this city. I'm like, wow, there's just so many people here. There's just so many people, which is awesome. Amazing. We love it.
It's fun.
No, it is.
I was just out of the city on a job for the last 2.5 months. And for the first part, I'm always like, whenever I get a regional gig or something, I'm always like, yes, get me out of the city. I want to break. And I get there and it's lovely for like 2 weeks and I'm just like living in the vibe. But like a month in, I'm like, I really miss New York.
Yeah.
I want to like, I want to go to a bodega at midnight and get sushi at 3 a.m. if I want.
And
like,
everywhere closes
everywhere
at like 7
closes
p.m.
at 7, and you're in rehearsal until 9 or 10, and then you have literally nowhere to eat except McDonald's. And like,
You're like,
yeah,
let's hope there's an Applebee's,
Yep.
you know? But they close at midnight too. Womp womp.
Yeah, no, I always come back to missing New York.
It's the big bad
And
apple.
I hate that about myself.
I mean that too. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be able to like sleep through the night with no noise, but this is where it's all at.
No.
It's all where it's all at. Like the last 2 gigs I did were in Massachusetts, like near my hometown, and like lovely to be home, lovely to be working. But then by the end of it, I'm like, okay.
Do you talk about you on the podcast ever? No, I'm like, I just made myself the host. Sorry.
No, truly, I love that. Sometimes I talk about myself, but I don't ever really go into detail. If not,
Well, no, I'm asking where
100%. It was at
don't mind.
It was at the Franklin Performing Arts Company in
Okay.
Franklin, Massachusetts,
In Franklin.
which is it's like down near Tara and I.
Okay, see, I'm a North Shore boy, so I was like, I don't
We're
know.
also like middle of nowhere, you know.
Well,
So, but it's a relatively new regional theater.
love that. There's a lot of those post-pandemic,
Yeah.
and I'm really liking that.
They just started getting accreditation like 2 years ago, maybe. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but yeah, I did 2 shows there recently. Absolutely lovely little place. But then again, I'm like staying at home, which very grateful for. Local housing,
Mhm.
great. But then by the end of it, I'm like, okay, wait a second, got to get back to that city. But yeah, it's nice to have the slice away, but it's also very nice to come back.
Yes. Typecasting.
Yeah, and it's so important to want to come back because it's a huge part of your type. Anywho, yeah, so your audition book, put songs in it that reflect your type, maybe,
Yeah.
or roles that you want to play, or actors that you want to model yourself after. I don't know, especially with me, a lot of it is like voice type, because like I'm not going to sit here and say I have like the prettiest MT voice in the world. Like I've certainly
I don't
learned.
think I've heard you sing.
I'm
gonna
probably
YouTube that
not.
when I get home.
I mean,
but
you can check out my website, brennanstefanik.com.
there it is. There's the plug.
But yeah, I don't have like the prettiest voice, quote unquote. I've learned to make it prettier over the years, but like
You're talking to a character actor clown.
Exactly.
It's fine.
like someone that I always turn back to. Not that he doesn't have a pretty voice. Now this sounds like a read, but like Adam Chandler Barat is like
It's like a unique voice. It's not a bad
unique
voice
in
at
that
all.
way. Yeah, it's like that. It's like the Anthony Rapp of it all. Like those are the kinds of things that I tend to turn to because I'm like, yes, they have very unique voices in a way that's similar to mine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they fit in specific scenarios that I want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of their material in my book.
Well, and that's kind of what I meant when I said I was fortunate that my voice type does match my physical type.
Mhm.
So I've never had to I've never been between a rock and a hard place of trying to be like, well, I have this leading man sound,
Mhm.
but I look like whatever, you know. I have been lucky in the sense that like the whole package kind of matches.
Yeah.
So that's always nice.
I wouldn't say I'm 100% in that boat, but like I'm definitely rowing a little bit closer
Mhm.
to it. Like I feel like someone would look at me and probably assume I'm a tenor based on the gawky, tall, skinny
everyone
man.
assumes tenor until it's not, though.
Also that.
Whatever.
You know, but I'm very much like very in the middle of the road, like very baritone. And like, granted, I'm getting up there a little bit more, but like rock baritone
Be a
is like
bass.
a really great.
That's how you want to get jobs.
that
be a
too.
bass.
That too.
Be a bass in New York City.
Do it, folks. We need them.
You heard it here
We need
first.
them everywhere. My best friend Brandon, he was on the podcast a couple of times. He is absolutely brilliant singer, phenomenal tenor voice, and he is currently doing beautiful in the bass track. And he was like, I don't know how I ended up here, but we're gonna make it work. But yeah, folks, we need them out there. For every newsie, we need another bass.
There it is.
And they also need their basses very much. But yeah, so like it's been an interesting game of like finding where the type can fuse into the vocal range and stuff. And
Yeah.
that can also feel very limiting, folks, but there are a million ways to circumnavigate that, and it is very doable, I promise you. And we'll talk about that probably in a future episode in terms of singing and voice and stuff. But yeah, that was a huge part of like finding where I fit into the puzzle, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I would like to be leading man ingenue someday, you know, but like especially with Broadway right now, like I just don't.
Well, I was actually going to say that I'm always surprised at what's currently coming out. Granted, I haven't seen a lot of this season yet, but I think even within the last 5 to 10 years, type is morphing into something that I don't want to say doesn't matter, but you're seeing all different types of people.
Yeah, that is true.
Better represented on stage, which is fabulous. And I think that when we talk about type, especially in regional theater, we're usually talking about the musical theater canon that's existed for 50 years.
True.
And it's like, well, there's only these types of people that go in South Pacific or in My Fair Lady and I think moving forward into what's currently on Broadway and what will be released regionally later, I think the scope is growing.
That is true. I think we're definitely moving in the right direction, which is very reassuring and stuff, because I feel like a lot of times, especially with like the classics, they're like not wanting to do a single thing with them, but then other folks are doing it in other places. And then they're like, oh, okay. So it does work. Maybe we could dip a single toe into that, and maybe another toe eventually in 10 years.
I mean, and there are some things that are just will always exist as like museum pieces, and that's fine and that's great. And if you fit into any of those, awesome, you have a job.
Exactly.
But if not, I don't think that's something to focus on because there's so much out there.
The time is coming. The time is definitely coming. And like even right now, there is stuff out there that is reflective of that. Like I'm a Anne Juliet stan,
I still haven't seen it.
Oh my God. It's so good.
I know. I've read the script many times. I know we said we weren't going to talk about Katie, but
I didn't even think of the Katie of it all. Yeah. Did I say Anne Juliet? I meant something else. No. I'll give credit where the credit's due.
I've read the script many times in helping her learn 2 tracks.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, you just look at that cast and that stage and you're like, okay, no, this is something different. This is something really new and beautiful. And there's other stuff happening like that. So it's nice. It's nice to see those changes. Yeah. And like, I do feel like I'm starting to see myself more on those stages. I am seeing myself represented a little bit more in that aspect. Granted, I'm just going to acknowledge the privilege here that I am indeed just a white man, which is like whatever. But like in terms of like the places that I struggle with who I am seeing that reflected more, which is very nice.
I mean, listen, beauty standards and all of the things in the industry are always crazy for everybody. So
100%. So yeah, it's helping fuel the fire a little bit more, which is good.
Yes.
So yeah, folks, like find those places you fit, find those places you want to fit, because quite frankly, there are places that it would make a lot of sense and maybe they just haven't seen that yet. So be that and let them see that in smart ways. Do it in a smart way and weaponize it once again. But yeah, get out there and be who you want to be.
Yes.
Be who you are and also who you want to be. Or play who you want to play, I will say.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. We're actors. That's the thing of it all too, is like we're actors. We can do anything. We can truly do anything. Like we can act. That is the definition of acting.
You know what? I have a story to share.
Share it. Do it.
Granted, this isn't theater specific. This was in an acting class for camera. But the teacher kept giving me, it was over a course of a few weeks. I kept getting these scenes that were you're kind of like cop scenes, like think like Blue Bloods or Law and Order, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, and I would do them, and they would be bad, objectively bad. And like the 3rd or 4th week, I went to the teacher, and I was like, this is not me. This isn't what I get called in for. Like, I'm never booking a cop on these procedural shows. Like, there's plenty of other things that I can do. I can list them for you, but I was like, this is bad because I'm not this.
Yeah.
And he was like, why not? And I was like, well, what? Because like, look at me. I'm not. Do I scream like NYPD to you? Like, no. And he's like, but if you DJ were a cop, you would be a cop. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, so stop putting on cop and just play the scene.
Heard. I love that.
And so that I think in relationship to type, he was saying like, it doesn't matter what you think you look like. Somebody that looks like you could be all of the things if you chose to go down that career path. So just like be you if you were a cop. Don't put on like, I'm a cop, so I'm acting and speaking in this way. Like,
of course.
Then it immediately like made the shift in the work was immediately more authentic and better.
Amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. We can do anything. We really can. Yeah. That is the definition of what we do. We play pretend for a living.
Yes.
Just pretend to be someone else, But like,
have you seen the video of Ian McKellen talking about acting?
No.
Everybody go look it up. It's so good.
I'll do that.
I can't. I'm going to paraphrase it if I try to do it. I cannot be Ian McKellen. But
I thought you were about to paraphrase it.
I was going to burp.
Oh my! I ruined it.
I did it again. No, it's my strike too.
Oh my God!
It was a baby one, and I didn't even turn away.
Okay, I'll give it to you. But yeah, folks, and like I don't know. Also, like if there's a type that's really rocking for you right now, use it to get your foot in the door. Yes. Establish yourself, and then from there, once you know all of these people, then you say, "Hey,
I don't want to do this anymore. I want to play this type of role.
Guess what else I can do? And then show that and then revolutionize yourself.
There's 1,000,002 ways that I think people can. Ooh, what was
hey, Alexa.
Oh,
sorry.
Nobody said her name.
No, she had a notification. Oh, wait, is she listening right now? Stop. No, we're good.
Okay. Lost the train of thought. What were we talking about?
Changing your type and getting your foot in the door.
There's 1,000,000 different ways that this industry can pigeonhole you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few friends that are extraordinarily expertly talented and have kind of only been understudies or swings, which is an entire skill set on its own.
Totally.
And they're brilliant at it. And some of them have hit the point where they're like, I don't want to cover anymore. I want to do the principal role, or I love covering and I don't want to play the principal role. This is like my path.
Yeah.
And you always have the option to start saying no.
Yeah.
So if you're at the beginning, take what you get.
Yeah.
And then if at a point you feel like, you know what, I don't want to do these types of jobs anymore, don't.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, folks, if that is you and you're out there, the reason they're hiring you to do those things is because you do them exceptionally well. They are extremely hard to do. And it saves them a lot of time and frustration when they bring in someone who already knows how to swing, you know, because that's a beast in itself. So like, they're not trying to take a dig at you in any way. They are saying you are an absolute expert at that. So like, also take that with a grain of salt, take the compliment within that. But then from there, say, that's not what I want to do anymore. You know, you have every right to do that. And if you're in the position to do that, even better. That means you're probably well on your way there and very close to...
Especially, shout out to swings and understudies and specifically regional shows.
Oh my God.
Long-running shows are, you know, everything is always massively impressive. But I will say that like these runs that happen for 6 to 8 weeks, swinging 9 tracks or covering multiple roles in a run that's that short with an even shorter rehearsal period time is crazy. And I've experienced... in a post-COVID world, both of the last gigs I've done, we've had swings and understudies go on. And it's wild to me. I do not have that skill set, so I just bow down to it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's something I ever could do. That being said, I'm very open to trying. If anyone out there wants to
It's the stress and anxiety of it, too, beyond the, like, actual capability of it. Like,
truly.
Just not knowing.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't dance, too. So, like, it's hard to, like, have the
swing Sweeney Todd or like Les Mis. Or, you know, there's plenty of vocal shows
for sure. I just like don't have the wherewithal.
Although that's its own beast, though. Then you're learning 6 harmony lines.
Exactly, exactly. It's a complicated job, but the folks that are doing it are absolute superheroes, and we wouldn't be here without them.
Yes,
the world would be on fire without them. Quite literally, there would be no theater anymore. And they all have types, which is what we were talking about.
I need to go back and listen to these other episodes, and I hope that this isn't fully unhinged. That this is the
this is very much on par. We released an April Fool's Day episode because it was a Monday, and we just didn't talk about theater at all.
That's great.
I had a blast. Don't get me wrong.
Fabulous.
It was great. But yeah, we do whatever we want here.
Love it.
Yeah. So yeah, folks, when you're in that audition room, you are being yourself. You are preparing appropriately. You are doing all of those things, and that's what you need to do. It's so hard for them too, because they're seeing so many freaking people in one day, that the more you present it to them on a silver platter, the easier it is for them to eat it up and not have to worry so much and do as much work, you know? Yeah. And they'll be appreciative of that, you know? The less work that they have to do, amazing. Just go in and just give them who you are, and they can place you appropriately or not or whatever, and that's that.
Yeah, being prepared and making choices is the best thing to do.
Yeah. And it's difficult. Like it's a lot of work, but it's work that you got to do.
Yes.
Because you also don't have to do it that frequently. You know, that is something
that's the thing too. I'm like, I'm waiting on auditions a lot for I'm like, when I get one, I'm like, ooh, I got one. Let's work on it. Literally.
Yeah. Take your time, put in that hard work, and then you won't have to do it for a long, long time, you know? And yeah, it's an interesting world, and it has held me back mentally in many ways, many times before.
Type or just the industry?
I mean, both, but type specifically.
Yeah.
But
I hate that. I'm sorry that like...
it's okay. I appreciated that. It's just like, especially like with all of the mental health of it all, it's definitely one of those things that plays into it, and the body image of it all.
Oh, that's an episode right there.
It definitely is. Don't get me wrong. It's going to happen. But yeah, it's something that can hold you back if you let it. But like, lately, I don't know, I've been taking classes and like I'm seeing more success and stuff, and like I am learning that I have the skills to to do the thing in general, and then B, to start to really get my foot in the door and start to establish myself. And I've been a lot more confident about how I fit into the industry and how I can present
and
that.
Also doing it yourself. I mean, this podcast is an example of that. I just had coffee with a friend who was telling me about a pilot that he just wrote. I just came from Atlanta, where two friends own a film production company.
Yeah.
You look at like the Lin-Manuel Miranda of it all. Like if you find yourself in a position where you're like, you guys don't understand, my type doesn't exist and I'm confused and mad about it, write for yourself.
Yeah. Make
it, produce it, make a short film, make a off Broadway piece, rent a space, do whatever you can to make it happen for yourself.
Absolutely. A lot comes out of that.
That goes hand in hand with just like send the email, send the DM.
Just do it. Just do it. Rip the Band-Aid, take some risks. I mean, also this industry is about taking risks in general. So like that's also a whole nother thing that it's tough to find the courage and the ability to do. But then once you do it, it is so freeing in incredible ways. Yeah. The email thing, especially, I hate emails, as we previously talked about, but I love them. Even sending them, I'm just like, it's so tricky. That and phone calls,
phone calls are hard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Heard. I've gotten better at that for sure, but like emails, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, also once you have one email, it's very easy to use it for several things. So yeah, craft that, get it ready, and send it. Reach out to your idols, reach out to your people, reach out to teachers, anything that can help you get ahead in this industry. Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. We all need it. We all need as many
especially if you're pinpointing something that you're really good for and you know you can do tomorrow. You're solving a problem.
Yeah.
If there's like, we're talking in the vein of theater, but like if there's a role that is casting right now, sending the casting director an email being like, I would love to be seen for this.
Yeah.
Be specific about it. Be short about it. Be just like, here is who I am. I think I'd be great.
Yeah.
May I get seen?
100%.
Like, you're not wasting anybody's time there.
No.
Now, if I send that email to try to get into Dreamgirls, that's a different conversation, because like that is wasting people's time. So like, there's always a line, but like, if you are an intelligent person, which I hope your listeners are, send the specific email.
Yeah.
Be clear, be short and efficient, and you'll get what you want.
And yes, folks, there may not be a role for you in every show, and that is so fine.
That's also so okay.
There's so many shows out there, so be smart. Also, like, if you're wondering, once again, where you fit in the mix of all of this, ask your friends. Like, ask the people who know you best other than yourself if you're really struggling with it.
Oh, here's something. I've turned down to, I've had two friends recently who have gotten an audition for a show that was for the wrong role.
Oh, okay.
And they emailed casting back and they were like, respectfully, like, this one isn't me. I don't have the skill set for it. But I am a really great fit for this other track.
Yeah.
And every time they've been like, oh, great, sure, send that one.
Amazing.
Because like, you know yourself better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So if you got an appointment for that, I was just going to give an example. I don't know.
Waitress.
Sure. If you got an appointment for Waitress and it was for Jenna, and you're like, that would be a dream. Thank you so much that you think I'm a Jenna, but I need to play Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, be like, I'm a Dawn, guys. And they're gonna be like, great, make a Dawn tape.
There you go. Also, folks, going like way back, once you have all of those packets and all of those materials, like, put them on tape just to have them.
Yep.
Put them on tape just to have them. Push comes to shove, you include that in an email just for the heck of it. And
I think, am I outing myself here? I think I've used the same tape 2 times for separate theaters that they didn't know that. They had the same time. They had the same sides, and I was like, I'm just gonna send this both
all the time. Every Legally Blonde gives the same sides.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Once you know those sides, and you have a great tape of it, send it out.
Also, folks, don't be sitting on it for years and years and years. Like, definitely update if you can, because you're constantly getting better. Don't get me wrong, but like.
Well, and that's also a good to clock, like, when is the casting director the same?
Yeah. And like, right now, everyone's doing Beautiful. Everyone's doing Jersey Boys. Yep. Everyone's doing Waitress. Everyone's doing Frozen. There's so many shows that are constantly being done right now. So have those materials, just get ready to send them if you need them,
Yep.
or if you want to be seen or whatever, just like have it just in case, and be prepared as best you can if there's roles for you in their shows.
Speaking of all of those shows, I'm just glad that the season of Mamma Mia is over. I'm sure some people aren't, but speaking of shows that there's nothing in it for me. So there was like 2 years where everyone did Mamma Mia, and I was like, nope. Yeah, I'm just gonna twiddle my thumbs because not my gig.
Truly, which is I don't know. I'm sad about it. I love a Mamma Mia moment.
Oh, I love it, but there's nothing for me to do in it.
Yeah, that's like the beautiful of it all for me right now. I've never seen Beautiful though, so I don't truly know. But like, I'm not feeling too hot about that one. And it seems like we're gonna be in that boat for a while. Might be the new Mamma Mia.
Yep. No, Frozen and Waitress, I think, are the new Mamma Mia.
Which I'm
great with. I want both of them, so that's great.
For sure. I saw Frozen for the first time a couple of weeks ago on tour.
Oh.
And I was very happy that it's lovely. In the world, you know? Good times. And The Waitress, don't even get me started. You know, that is right now what I am sending the same tape of over and over, is The Waitress of it all.
Yes.
And it's extremely handy. It's extremely handy to have those, and just, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think we nailed it.
I do too. Yeah.
I don't think we missed anything. I think everyone is an absolute expert on type now. And of course, folks, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Send us DMs, respond in the comments of whatever. Be happy to answer them and maybe make episodes out of them, you know? We're going to be trying to cover anything and everything to do with this industry and the business of it all and the making it. So like,
I was just talking about you and this podcast with Katie and my friend Brandon, and we decided I'm going to put you on the spot. So now this has to be an episode. Whoops, amazing. Sorry. You should make one. It should be like a round table podcast of dressing room etiquette.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Would love.
It would be a good one. And I think it would be fun if you had like a bunch of different people, and it's like, all right, let's pretend we're all in a dressing room right now. What is everyone's like likes and dislikes and like annoying things that you may do or that you hate when people do, or
totally.
Yeah. Like, that would be a fun one.
And there's just also so much that is just like unspoken and assumed that you just don't learn.
Well, that's what we were talking about. There's no teacher for that. That's just like life experience until you have that older actor in the room that's like, guys, stop doing this. It's not. Yeah.
Folks, you know how sweaty you get if you are constantly giving people sopping clothes, tip them at the end of the process. Please, from one wardrobe suit, please, just do it.
Oh, wardrobe tipping, if that's not a known thing. That is a thing, guys.
You got to do it. But yeah, no, that's great. I love that idea. That will happen.
Yeah.
As soon as I figure out technologically.
Right. I was like, well, I have a mic for you.
Amazing.
So yeah, I'll bring my own
I just
mic.
have 2 ports in this here little audio interface. So, but the thing is, I'm sure someone knows how to do it. I'm sure someone has the stuff that I can borrow.
Yeah, no, there's a tech nerd we know somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. We'll make it happen. Yeah, that would be so fascinating. Also, just like theater etiquette in general, like alarming. Absolutely
Stop
alarming.
Taking pictures. Patty LuPone.
Like astounding. It's still happening. It's still happening every show, every single show. There's a cell phone that goes off. Incredible. But yeah, typecasting, wild time. Granted, we were done with it. We finished.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, folks, you are the architect of your own journey and your own type and everything. So use it to your advantage, weaponize it. Once again, get your foot in the door, then show them what you can do. You know, whatever way you want to go about this that feels right in your heart, do it. That's how we're gonna get you going. And once again, we're rooting for you.
Yes.
We are absolutely rooting for you. We are your biggest supporters. And if you want to be our biggest supporters, you can find us on Patreon. Normal disclaimer, folks, we are not gatekeeping any information on the Patreon. It is just some fun bonus content, silly stories, and sneak peeks of stuff. So feel free to check us out over there. Be happy to have you. DJ, if you want to be found, where can folks find you?
I can be found on Instagram, and that's kind of it.
Amazing.
To be honest,
okay.
DJ Plunkett 100.
There you go.
I post fun things.
Yeah, there you go. Instagram, folks.
Instagram.
It's the way of the future.
It's not. That's the thing.
it's very much the present. If you want to find us, folks, of course, it is BA to Broadway on most social media platforms. And if you happen to find yourself in New York City on Sunday, April 28th, you can catch me at the Green Room 42 at 1 p.m. in a little concert called You're Too Old for That. It's going to be a blast and a half, so I'll probably put a link to tickets in my bio on Insta at Brennan Stefanik. So keep an eye out for that. Would love to see you there. And until next week, thank you so much for being here, DJ.
My pleasure.
It truly was my pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And folks, we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye. Hey there, folks. This is future Brennan coming to call past Brennan a big, stupid liar. There actually will not be a new episode next week. I will be taking a very much needed vacation. So we will see you back here in 2 weeks. Nice and well rested, and hopefully very tan. Y'all have a great couple weeks, and we will see you then. Bye for real. From BA to Broadway is created, produced, and edited by Brennan Stefanik, music by Dylan Kaufman, and cover art by Jordan Vongsithi.